Okay, today I'm going to show you how to replace the seals in this main gear in your F or S100 valve. And it's real simple. You only have to worry about removing these 7 screws, 6 on the outside here, 1 in the center. I've already taken the liberty to loosen them for us. And the only tools you're going to need is a Phillips screwdriver and a flathead screwdriver. You can use a drill or a power tool with a Phillips tip on it to remove or replace these screws when you're ready. I'm just going to use a hand-held screwdriver, just like old-fashioned way, just to show you how easy it is. I've already loosened these, but I'm going to make sure they're loose and demonstrate here. Go around this hole outside, loosen all of these screws until they're all the way out. You could leave them sitting in their seats, that's fine. And then the one in the center here, there's one in the very middle. Now that all 7 of those screws are loose, you should be able to grab this piece right here and lift it up out of place. Do that carefully, and then you'll be able to flip this over. When you do, all these screws are probably going to want to fall out. You can go ahead and let those fall out on your table, just like so. Make sure they don't run away on you. One of the things you want to be careful about when you do this is you don't want to disturb this O-ring seal that's around the outside edge, because once it gets unseated, it can be a little tricky to get back in place. So be careful not to do that. But if you do manage to dislodge it while you're taking it apart, don't worry. With a little bit of patience, you'll be able to get it reseated. It won't be an issue. So what you see here is the first 6 of these ceramic discs that we're going to replace. And I'll take the screwdriver just to carefully pry them up and out. They may stick a little bit. You may find them stuck in there. Yours are probably going to be much dirtier than these. I'm using an already rebuilt valve as your model here for demonstration. But you'll pry each one of these out, and when you do, you may find that the O-ring sticks to the ceramic disc. If it does, just go ahead and roll that off of there. You're going to hold on to these. We will be reusing these. If yours are completely filthy or covered in rust, feel free to take a little bit of dish soap. You can put them in a little dish and get them as clean as you can, because we are going to be reusing these. So we put those blue O-rings off to the side. Take these discs out one at a time. Take them out carefully. Remove each one of these discs. Once you do, you want to get these O-rings out if you can. You may need to find yourself a way to use a tool to get those out of there if they stick down there in their little slots. So once you've got the O-rings out and you've got these discs out, try to get those O-rings out one at a time. Now, it may be important for you to clean these surfaces. Your valve is most likely going to have some water in it. It's going to be wet, so you may want to take a paper towel, clean these off, and make sure they're all good and dry. And be careful not to lose this O-ring right here that's in the very center. There's an O-ring there that is very important for sealing the whole system. So make sure you don't lose that O-ring. Once you've done that, you can take, now that you've cleaned your blue O-rings, you can put all these O-rings back in place one at a time. Just like so. And then take your new discs, place each one on there one at a time. Just like so. Once those are all seated in their little seats, you can take that and set it off to the side. That's going to be ready to go when it's time. Now I want to take a good look at this valve here. Those are screws. So you want to make sure you wrangle your screws and washers and don't let them get away. Take a good look at this. Now if you look closely, you'll see that this gear lines up with corresponding discs, just like this other part on the other side of that gear. They line up and down. The holes are situated from front to back on the valve. We just want to pry this gear up and out of there. It's pretty easy. Doesn't take much effort. Take your flathead screwdriver, go in next to this gear right here at about a 45-degree angle and get underneath that gear. Once you do, you can just pry up and you'll see it work its way out. One good pry, and then that gear can be removed. Yours is probably going to have some rust and maybe some grooves bored in it from the contaminants in the water. So you put that bad one off to the side. That's now garbage. Now you have these 6 you have to remove, very same as the first ones. Take them out one at a time. Careful not to lose those O-rings. You want to take those and set them off to the side. You'll be reusing those. Okay. Now we've gotten all those out of there. Just to demonstrate, I want you to get these blue O-rings out of there carefully. And remember, your valve is probably going to look a little dirtier than this one. Maybe it has a lot of rust in it. Probably going to have a lot of water in it. You want to try to dry as much of that up as you can. Clean these O-rings as good as you can, and once you've done that, you've got clean surfaces, and you can put these O-rings back, put them back in their place, one at a time. It doesn't take long at all to do this. Once you've done all that, take your other 6 new replacement discs, and we're going to put those each one in corresponding spot very easily. Okay, now that we've done that, we want to take our new replacement gear. Remember how I told you that we have a hole in the front towards the front and one toward the very back. Imagine a straight line down the center of the valve. We want to line up that corresponding hole on this gear. It won't matter which direction the gear is facing. I generally just put it with these little holes facing up. But you want to align that with the center post, and you want to align those holes so that it looks like they're lined up pretty good. They don't line up perfectly because you're going to have to line up with this gear down here that you can see there by my thumb. You're going to have to line that up as close as it can get. Once you get it to where you think it's as close as you can get to being directly over those holes, then you're going to push down on it until you feel it start sliding into the gear teeth. Push down good and hard and push that down into place just like that. Once that's seated in place, you're better than halfway there. Now we're going to take this other part that you remember from before. We've got this one ready to go. We want to hold it in our hand just like that. And you want to see that there's, whoops, sorry. I'm going to flip this around. Hold it with this hole facing you and with this gear facing you. Take the valve in one hand, this part in the other. And you want to line them up as good as you can, just like this, without disturbing that O-ring. And drop it right into place, just like so. Whoop. If you're not careful the first time, they start wanting to come out on you. Again, you want to try to not flip this over any further than that so that those discs don't fall out of place. You want to carry the valve over to that part there. And you'll see it line up just like that. Flip it back over. It may come out of alignment a little bit. You can turn that back in place just like so. Now that all the screws are lined up, we can drop each one of these back in their homes one at a time. You may find that a washer has stayed behind during the process, like the one that's in that hole right there, right here. That's okay, just leave it there. Look for the screw without a washer, put it in there, and drop each one of these screws back in their homes. Just like so. Last but not least, this one, it might take a little coaxing. I'll start the screw on the screwdriver and hold my finger on the end of it like that. Get down in there, find the hole, drop it right in. And let's tighten the middle hole, middle screw first. Tighten that down until you feel it squeeze down on the part there. Once you get it down tight, go ahead and turn it about a quarter turn past snug, nice and tight. Then we're going to do a star pattern tighten these, just like a spare tire on a car. Tighten them down one at a time. Same deal. Once you get down to where it's snug, give it a nice quarter turn past snug. Most people don't have a torque screwdriver, so I won't bother wasting your time talking about torque. It's just going to be the general mechanical rule of thumb, quarter turn past snug. We're going to go kind of a star pattern. You want to tighten these down one across from the other, one at a time, like so. Again, this makes it a little bit quicker with a drill. I like to avoid doing that and stuff like this because, one, I don't want to over tighten things. I don't like to strip screws. And I'm not in that big a hurry. But if you are, feel free to use a drill for all of this. If you do, I would set the clutch on your drill so that it doesn't do much tighter than what I'm demonstrating here, about a quarter turn past snug. Once you've tightened all these screws back up, you know everything's in place. You go around for good measure, make sure you didn't miss one. I think that's about all of them. Once you've done that, you're pretty much home free. Make sure this O-ring goes back where it belongs on your valve. And then you are free to reinstall this valve, and you should have cured your leak to drain.